What's up, Duke fans? Welcome to the Devil's Den podcast. I'm your host, Josh Smith, joined by my co-host Raul and Shu. Tonight we're going to come back and do our part two. So our last podcast we did part one of the marquee non-conference matchups. So if you haven't listened to that one, you can go back and check that out. This time we're going to jump into our last ones. It's not all of the non-con, so we might miss a few here and there. We try to just target kind of the big ones, right? So this is the marquee matchups, top 25 teams. Or at least expected to in these way too early preseasons. I think I mentioned last week, for the most part, we're using kind of Gary Parrish's GP's top 25 too early rankings. So some of this may fluctuate, may change, but fellas, I guess we can get into it if you want, unless there's any kind of news or anything. Not too much has been going on, really. I mean, recruiting's probably going to start picking up a little bit. Stuff's on campus is going to pick up a little bit too, but for the most part, pretty dead, really,
Yeah,
right?
they
So
had that like pro Devils weekend or whatever. That was
yeah,
pretty
that was pretty
cool.
cool.
I don't know if
Yeah,
you
see a
watched the
bunch of
people
guys.
who planted about that, but
Yeah, I
just
did
seeing
watch
some
that.
of the old guys like scrimmage with the new guys was pretty cool. And then they kind of like did this whole thing where they went through with each player and they're like, who are you picking for 3-on-3 with former alumni? And it was interesting just to see who they picked. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
not news. It was just, you know, cool to see Tatum and Paolo and all those guys there.
yeah, it
I
was
think it
really cool to
was
see.
was it
Go ahead.
Hood that went with Jabari and like Grant Hill. I loved his
Yep.
team. It was like
Yep.
all wings. Yeah, big wings.
Exactly. Two guys like
Yeah,
him probably have
Yeah,
been two big
yeah.
influences.
seeing Paolo and Cam doing some pickup stuff, right? Because it's like clearly that's the prototype, that's the mold. They even did the podcast together, so that was pretty cool. Um, But all right, well, I guess we'll go ahead and jump right in. So we're gonna start this with Florida at Duke. So this is where this one starts tonight. SEC Challenge. So obviously Florida's coming off a national championship. Big time season. I mean, Walter Clayton was like the guard last year for the most part, especially late in that tournament run. Just super clutch, big shot maker. They've had a lot of interesting kind of movement over the summer. I mean, they were involved, y'all, with like every transfer, like really. I mean, and ended up getting two pretty dynamic ones. I mean, I think we should talk about it a little bit. I mean, I'll go through the projected starting lineup here. So Xavier Lee, the highly sought after Princeton transfer, his kind of highlights was going kind of viral there for a little bit, right? Boogie Flan from Arkansas. So two big names in the portal there. Interesting dynamic there in the backcourt. Like before, I guess I'll go through it. So Thomas Hall, returner, Alex Condon is probably the big one. I mean, that's like he potentially could be in the player of the year conversation, in that kind of ballpark. Get stretched forward, big time program, so the hype's gonna be there. And then they pick up the big guy from Washington State. So coming in preseason number 6, fellas, what do y'all make of that backcourt though? I think that's the most interesting conversation here. What challenges, I guess, do you think that poses with Lee and Flan against what we got?
I think the shooting's going to be a question mark for them there. Last
Mm-hmm.
year they had Martin and Walter Clayton that just made shots.
Yeah,
Um, Boogie Flam kind of up and down as a freshman.
yeah,
High recruit coming out of high school. Goes to play for Cal in Arkansas, and just it was weird. I know he got hurt early on in the season, but they seemed to play better without him on the floor. So interesting to see how that all fits together for those guys in Florida. But they're going to want to play fast. That's kind of Todd Golden's thing:
mm-hmm.
play fast. Uh, you know, take it at the rim, play defense at the rim. So the three big guys. I mean, their front court. I'm biased to our front court, but their front court's pretty solid.
It is.
A lot of people's maybe top front court in the nation. So going to be an interesting game. I'm glad we got it at Cameron. Last year Auburn came to town. I know you guys remember me saying there were more Auburn fans than more away fans at that game. Particularly Auburn fans than I've ever seen. So hoping something like that doesn't happen again with Gator fans in Cameron this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Boogie Fland is like he was the number 22 recruit in his class. Duke looked at him briefly, but I don't think it really kind of went anywhere. He's on the offer list, but I don't know that we actually like really offered him. But
Sure. Yeah.
you know how that goes. But yeah, so he had, like Shu mentioned, just an okay freshman year, I would say. Like he only shoots 38% from the field, so that's not great, obviously. 34% from 3 on 5 attempts. That's okay. I mean, obviously that needs to come up to 14 points a game, but on 12 shots. But it's the kind of player who has potential, and you could see him like really kind of figuring it out his second year, especially in a new system under, frankly, a better coach. So, that's maybe a little bit threatening. I'm not going to pretend like I've sat here and like watched a ton of him, but he looks pretty quick to me. So that's something to monitor, right? It's like you got to keep those guys out of the paint.
Yeah.
Keep them out of transition, stop them from doing damage that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a tough game, right? It's like probably the toughest one on the schedule. I mean, I know we've got him on the outline here at number 6, but that's going by Gary Parrish, but ESPN's even higher on them. They have him at number 2.
I mean, look, GP has St. John's as his number 1, so take it with a grain of salt.
That. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing this a long time, man. Maybe too long, GP.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. We'll see.
We like to shake it up.
Yeah.
By the way, Raul, love the low key shot at Cal with the better coach Golden. I mean, they both got one title.
They both
now,
have one title, right? But I feel like Golden accomplished that a little bit more quickly and with a little bit less premier talent. So.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I agree. I think to Shu's point, like it could be one of the more like the most fun game on the schedule in terms of the pacing and the way the game could be played, just up and down. It is an interesting roster to me, though. Like when I'm just looking at like all of the fit and all of that stuff. I mean, they got some flashiness in the backcourt, but I don't really know how much it pops or how much it like accentuates some of the other stuff that they're going to do. Lee should have a lot of fun playing for Golden, though, in that like kind of pace and that style of play. That should be open things up for him a little bit. I do expect it to be kind of up and down in Cameron, though. Like it should be like that Auburn game was probably the highest level game we played last year in terms of just environment, style of play, like the way of the game played out. I could see this being right there. I mean, being right there with it. So big time matchup. 2 of the probably best young coaches in the sport right now as well. It's probably fair to say. Some history, though. I mean, we talked a little bit about it, but I didn't realize that we're 13-3 against Florida. I mean, you have to go back a ways. Now, I think they beat us in the tournament. What was that, 2000? I want to say maybe 2000. That was when Florida beat us, Sweet 16-ish. Obviously, 99, you had the Maggette, the backboard slap, right? That's Florida. Played them in, PK 80, another Bagley.
Yep.
Bagley domination there.
Huge performance by Bagley there. I think he had like 30 and 15.
Yeah, 30 and 15, man. That's big time.
94 Final Four.
Yeah, of course there's that one.
Yeah.
That was a good one for
semifinal game.
Yeah.
I kind of wish it was at Florida. I know that's kind of weird, but I kind of would like to play down there too. It's been a long time if we've ever played down there, so that would be kind of cool to see. But you do get it in Cameron. Should be probably one of the I would say, next to Carolina or so, this might be like the best Cameron will be this year. Like this event tends to draw out some of the best in Cameron. Going back to we mentioned offline the Ohio State game in Cameron in 13, Auburn last year, right? Like these games tend to vibe. So we'll see. It'll be on a Tuesday in December. Finals coming up, so hopefully the energy's there, folks. But anything else y'all want to say about Florida? I mean, weird roster, good coach, some big time talent in Condon.
Just be interesting to see how they bounce back at their national championship run, right? Like the expectations are always high coming into a repeat season, but as UConn found out after going back to back, like it's not easy when you set that bar to keep attaining that kind of level of success, right?
Sure.
And it's not like they're bringing back their whole team or anything. They lost some very important pieces.
Only
like
2 guys. Yeah. Y'all expect to win this game? It's in Cameron. I can't pick a loss, man. I'm not gonna predict a loss in Cameron, but you expect to win?
But I would say this would be this and Kansas are the 2 that I would have like circled as the like highest potential for a loss. So, I mean, some of these other ones are tough too. I'm not going to lie. Texas Tech could be as tough as well, but just the fact it's in Cameron helps, but I look at this game as like kind of the equivalent of the Auburn game last year. Like, should be one of the best teams in the nation. We are playing them at home. By that point, we'll already have played several tough games, and we might really kind of need a win at that point, depending on how things go. So I think, kind of similar outcome. I'm thinking, 7 or 8 point win, hopefully. That would be
I guess what I want to look for is whether or not it is a really close game down the stretch, and whether or not we can actually win that. I don't think we won any one possession games last year. So,
that was
just closing those tight, tough games.
That would definitely be nice to see this year, as to see that start to kind of get back in our favor a little bit. I mean, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I wonder, I guess that's going to be the question of the season, right? Like, if Caden is the floor general that we think he can be, that's the hope there, is that he'll get us into the right kind of actions late game, which we didn't really have somebody to kind of organize things last year. I mean, Jeff Goodman, when he was on the pod, pointed that out, right? Like, he thought that was kind of the one missing thing for the team. It's like, we saw, how many games did we see where it's like, okay, Cooper, we're just going to give you the ball at the top of key, go do something, right? Like, first of all, I think having a true point guard to get our best player or our hottest player or whatever the ball in an opportune place will be great. Like, but also just the fact that Cam is a little bit more of a, like, maybe rim presence than Cooper was. Not that Cooper didn't attack the basket, but I can just foresee us getting some easier shots at the rim late.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would take Duke pretty comfortably in this one, and mainly it's because some of the same questions that we've had the last couple of years about closing these games. Like, I'm looking at their backcourt, and I'm just, where's it coming from there too? Like, Lee looks the part, but like, this is Duke, man. This is a little different than Princeton. No offense. And Boogie Flan, like, maybe there's being a little stereotypical there, but what we saw last year and this year, it's like you're not necessarily making folks better or the best decision maker on the floor. I could see our defense kind of causing some issues on their side of things too, man. Before we move on here, is there a matchup? Obviously, the Condon Boozer matchup is like the one, but is there like an X factor guy for Duke that you see like, hey, this guy could really be a difference maker in this game?
Well, again, to me, like, because of their questionable shooting, I feel like they're going to play through their front court. And so I want to see how Pat holds up with the big man, because like you said, Condon Boozer, where that's at. And then between Pat and their big man, who wins out there, whose front court dominates.
Well, I'm interested to see, like, if our backcourt can take advantage of their backcourt a little bit, because I don't think that they're going to be a great defensive backcourt. Like, between Lee and Fland there, I just don't see that, right? So, like, this could be a game for, Foster to get going, or Isaiah Evans. They're, like, Lee is 6'3", I think. How tall is Fland?
Probably 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, so he's a little bit bigger, but
maybe even smaller. I think he's like 6'2", maybe.
He's 6'2",
he might be.
So we're looking
looks
at 6'2",
bigger,
6'3",
but
so Duke will have a height advantage. I think they'll also have a strength advantage. Lee to me is just like, I don't know about how well his game's going to translate. This could come back to bite me, right, if he hits like 7 threes or something.
He totally could. I mean, because he's got that kind of flair, but he also has a lot, I think, of risk in like some of the pass.
He likes to take a lot of those like deep shots off the dribble.
Yeah, and against an Ivy League, you can do it.
But
yeah, an Ivy League, you can get away with it though. In a game like this, I'm just not. Maybe you can. Golden's certainly probably going to show him the Clayton formula and be like, hey, if you can make shots like this, then we're going to need you. But
it's always just a toss up with those, like, guys who are transferring up such a high, from such a like kind of mid-tier level to a high level.
Yeah.
You never know how that's going to go.
I think for me, man, it's Malik, and it's probably Malik in a lot of the matchups that we're going to talk about too. But I mean, what he did to Janai Broom last year, and you're looking at a guy like Alex Condon, who you're going to play through. I'm kind of thinking, like, I'm interested in what you said, Shu, too, but I'm kind of thinking, too, like, how do we get Malik on Condon as much as possible defensively, and then just make Ruben guard Cam? Like, dude, we're going to put you on the perimeter. We're going to put you in a ton of actions. This is a guy who likes to camp at the rim, be the rim protector, you know, not like, can we get you moving around, right? Can we get you out here? Can we get Cam on the free throw line heavy, you know, like that kind of thing? And then just let Malik just make kind of anytime that ball touches the floor, it's mine, bro. Just know that, right? Like anytime you put it down, I'm taking it. I'd like to see that. But all right, let's move on. We spent too much time on that one. All right, next up is, I think this is a really interesting one for a different reason. One, because we've played these dudes probably 30 times in the last 12 years. But this one's actually at Michigan State, which makes it a little bit different because I feel like I wish we would have got them not in 21. But if we're going to play them all the time anyway, I totally would be down to just let's set up a home and home every year. And let's just keep doing this because the fan bases, I think there's just enough, like, not like hatred, or I wouldn't even really call it like a rivalry, but we've just played each other so much, right? Where there is something, at least an interest there or respect, whatever you want to call it. But either way, we get to go back up, answer the call. We get to play them at Michigan State. That's like right after the Florida game too. So we play Florida Tuesday, December 2nd, and then Saturday they're on the road to East Lansing, man. So it's pretty big time. They were pretty good last year. They're pretty good every year. Spoiler, right? Preseason 16 right now. They are a little bit different though, because it makes sense knowing what we know about Izzo. But only one of these guys is a transfer. Right, I think everyone else they're bringing in is a returner. So go through their lineup right quick, and we can chop it up. But Jeremy Fears, big time. I was looking into some of his stuff too, man. This kid's for real, like big time playmaker. Returning for a sophomore year, I think it was like top 10 in assist rate last year too. Like, so that's an interesting matchup, especially if you're playing Caden, you know, right there at the 1, because I think he's a sophomore. So I like that. They do bring in Trey Fort from Samford. Don't know a ton about him, man, but just a bulldozer frame, just like a hoss, dude. And then this is the weirdest part to me. So they got Cohen Carr, who's projected to start on the wing, but he's like a 6'5" guard who just doesn't shoot threes like at all.
He's super athlete.
Guy. Yeah, doesn't shoot at all though.
Yeah.
I think he shot like 12 or 13 total threes all of last year. So that doesn't really scare me a ton. Like, you know, you just let him and Dame maybe just go at it out there, like physically. I don't know. Jackson Kohler is a guy to kind of watch out for. He's your like prototypical kind of stretch guy. 37% from 3, low to mid volume, which means he's probably lighting Duke up from like 5 of 6 from deep, right? Like that's your guy. And then your Izzo big man, Carson Cooper, just non-shooting rim protector, goon type guy, you know, like your bruiser type dude. Auburn beat him in the Elite 8 last year before making it to the Final Four. So Izzo almost snuck in another one. We've crushed these guys. I mean, Duke's 15-3 against them. So we can go through some of the matchups. But first, just kind of what do y'all make of playing at Michigan State and just a little bit of the roster of what we know about it?
Well, if it wasn't at MSU, I don't think I would be particularly worried about it. Like
at all.
Yeah. For me, it's just that turnaround from playing Florida, which is likely to be a coin flip game, to having to go up to Michigan State. You know, it's like, yeah, there's like a 5-day gap in there, but you got to include travel and all that as well. Their roster, it's like, I don't really get it, man, just looking on paper, but I feel like that way about a lot of Izzo rosters, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm like, it's this weird combination of small and like bad floor spacing. So I don't get why you would go with that, right? It's like, you know, their wings are 6'4" and 6'5". And I guess, you know, you have your stretch 4, but again, he's not like high volume, like you said. And just having a non-shooter at the 3 is like clogs everything up a little bit. Yeah, it's just the fact that it's at MSU and you kind of wonder about like, do they get a friendly whistle at home and are they allowed to clobber the hell out of us and just kind of win that way, you know?
Yes, is the answer.
Because that's the way Izzo likes to win games.
And this will probably be the first true road game, right? Because we're playing a lot of them, these marquee matchups, neutral.
Yeah, I don't know when the Army game is. We play at Army. I don't know when that one might be before or after that. I don't know.
And that's obviously a different caliber of opponent. And
sure.
We have Tennessee at Tennessee. Hopefully that'll help, but it's an exhibition, so you can't really count that either.
What happened to was it Xavier Booker, the kid? We were looking at him hard. He was the big guy. He went to Michigan State. I guess he ended up transferring.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah, like last year, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, so he was
where
in
did he
Michigan State for
go?
2 years.
Where did he
I
go? Like
do not know
UCLA or something, I think.
So
I
that's
mean,
a
the
little bit of
transfer portal, you never know
Yeah.
where these kids bounce around to. But
Yeah, I think UCLA. Yeah, I
he
think
didn't
Okay.
really pan. He didn't really pan out that much
Right.
either. 5
Yeah.
points a game, 12 minutes a game. So just went
Yeah.
somewhere for more playing time.
It's just intriguing to me. Izzo, with like Jackson Jr. and just didn't seem to really know what to do with these.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't even have that this year, though, right? Like this roster doesn't have that at all. I mean, normally every time we play Michigan State, I expect to win just because K had dominated them for so. Now I know they did get us twice in the tournament, which is kind of a bit of a grinder
The
there.
fact that 2 of their 3 wins are in the tournament is
And the tournament is pretty
annoying.
pretty brutal.
Mhm.
But this roster doesn't scare you at all, except for Fears. Like Fears is fearless. Like this kid can win a game for you. Like he's for real.
What was
but I
the
just
point where they
expect them
had
in to-
Cassius Winston? Was that it?
they've always had somebody, right? Like
But that was
some
the
kind
point
of good
guard that
dude.
took out the Zion team, right? Like he just went bananas in the
because and they typically play like early in the year, like offensively, they play kind of gross, dude. Like they're usually like not disciplined. They turn the ball over typically a lot earlier in the year. So defensively, you could really like maybe do some damage here. But on like the offensive side for us, dude, you just know up there what the whistle's going to be like, the Big Ten officiating. Like, I mean, Izzo in this game, he knows his record against Duke.
Mhm.
Like in this game, he might come out like in a Spartan mock or something, right? Like he might literally set that place on fire. So there's going to be a lot of like, if Duke comes out with a win in this, it'd be really impressive, assuming they're not just like 4-3 or something, 3-4 by that point, like, but if you go in there and you come out with the win, like that's something, man.
Especially if you can somehow beat Florida and then turn around and go to Michigan State and beat Michigan State, like my belief in this team will be at a completely different level.
For sure. For sure. Big time matchup, man. I mean, there's been so many like marquee ones. I don't know. Do y'all have a favorite? I mean, I think we had it was the not the 1K game, but what was before that? 903?
903.
903. Yeah. That was the one that was in Madison Square.
Yeah, Dre had a big
Austin
time.
Rivers. Yep.
Yep. The Final Four with Trey, that was with Tyus, that was we played him twice that year.
Down,
both of those are good.
The Kyrie game in Cameron.
Yeah, that might be the best run right
That's
there.
probably one of those up there. Yeah.
I mean, Kyrie is just going nuts.
It's maybe not as dramatic, but I really like the 2022 second round game against.
Oh yeah, I watched that not that long ago. Yeah.
Who went to that one?
No,
wasn't you?
I didn't. No, I didn't go. I wasn't at that game.
That was in South Carolina because I remember something happened. We couldn't get into the stadium until it was almost like 10 minutes into the game or something. They messed
up
reader
letting people in. Yeah,
the reader thing wasn't working. Like the Wi-Fi wasn't working, and people didn't have their tickets. That it's when we first started doing digital tickets. Which, by the way, I hate digital tickets. I like paper tickets. Give me a paper.
Yeah, I still print them out and take it with me just in case. Right? I'm like, what if my phone goes down? I can't. Anyway,
1%, baby.
Yep. I think Ben Pye was there. I want to say. I don't know if he sat with you or anything. But, yeah, because I remember him. I remember him complaining about not getting in as well. But anyway, I'm sure he'll listen to this and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. Shouts to Ben. Man, that's a great ending to that one too. Like with Roach hitting that 3, UC and K like willing them on. Like, that's a good one. This should be big time. All right, let's move on. Let's do another. All these are big. I guess I don't need to keep saying that. They're all pretty big. So Duke and Texas Tech in New York. So going back up to home away from home a little bit there. Again, big month in December, fellas. So that's Saturday, December 20th. A little bit another team that's kind of like, what do you really make of them? I did some digging into their roster, dude, and like that starting 5 is absolutely like dangerous. Like it is like brutally good. GP has them at 7. I think that might be low, man. I don't know, man. This team is like, you put 2-6-6 guards, like wings, that are both 42% from 3 and both just jacked up on your roster. Good things are going to happen. Juan Watts is from Washington State. I don't know what happened to Washington State, but they lost all their dudes. Like, there's like 3 transfers on the teams that we're going through from Washington State. Tyree Bryan from Santa Clara, another 6'6" guard, 42% from 3. Now again, you're kind of wondering like how these guys are going to play up. But if you're 6'6", a tank, and can shoot in Texas Tech, you just assume that's probably
the goal's 10
out.
feet in every conference you play in.
Yeah. And then probably the most dangerous to probably what Duke is going to be looking at is Christian Anderson. On ball, like, he's the point guard, big time 3-point shooter. Like, big time 3-point shooter. They're going to throw a lot of shooting at you 1 through 3. Like, that's going to be dangerous. And then they got JT Toppin.
And then you got Toppin,
who is arguably player of the year. Like,
they paid him a lot to come back. So
played him a lot. He was 4th last year, finished 4th in KenPom's player of the year last year. And then they just got the rim protector, rim runner, kind of shot blocking guy down there from VCU. So, like, that top 4, man, it complements each other nicely. Yeah, you're looking at, like, probably a top 5 defensive team, I would say. And offensively could go, it could get a little ugly, but they have the pieces to be top 15, top 10. I mean, like, they could be really, really good.
Yeah, I mean,
hate to hype them up too much, but yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I like their roster better than I think any of the teams we've looked at so far, including Florida, who's projected higher. Like, just looking at the roster on paper, to me, it makes more sense. And I think that the talent level is a little higher and there's fewer question marks. You're not like projecting somebody like Xavier Lee to, like, come out of Princeton and, like, his skill set to transfer over. You're kind of going with a little bit more known quantities, and just having a guy like Toppin, to me, that raises the floor so much.
And you're surrounding with those wings with the shooting capabilities too, man. Like, this is the one that I'll look at. And I think I said last pod, I said Kansas was the one where I was like, oof, that's going to be tough. It's just Kansas is historically tough. This is the one that I would look at, but that might be where I would say, I don't know if we get that done or not. But
playing in Cameron North, though, so
that's true.
That's
true.
Same with the Kansas game, actually. So.
Yeah, have a good contingency of fans up there. But I mean, the Toppin Boozer matchup is going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, that's electric.
Yeah.
Cam's going to get tested. I mean, he's got Condon. He's got Toppin. I mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's a big matchup.
Yeah, to me, Toppin Boozer might be the best matchup, just period, in the country in the non-con. You think about 2 guys who, similar size, same position, and are both probably going to be a National Player of the Year conversation. And I would project them both to be on the first team. So, I think that could determine the game.
And then just how do we defend some of that stuff too, right? And like, can Slim get shots off against 2-6-6 studs, right? Like, like what are we going to do? And then Christian Anderson being able to be that dynamic on ball and that lethal of a 3-point shooter. It's going to put some pressure on you. It's going to put some pressure. Now you can probably play a little bit of 5-on-4 defensively with the big guy down there. I think you're going to try to pronounce his last name. First name's Luke from VCU. But still, man, there's just 1 through 4 is just pretty loaded there. So another big test there. I kind of spoiled mine a little bit, but Shu, you picking a win here in Cameron North? Sounds like you leaning towards that.
Yeah, I think this is going to be, besides Florida, our toughest game of the 8 that we've outlined or will have outlined through these 2-part series. And Kansas always, obviously, Bill Self, they're going to come ready to play. But this, like you guys point out, this Texas Tech roster is just loaded. I know they spent a lot of money on it. Good coach, Grant McCaslin. So, well, we played them, what was it, Final Four? No,
we played them to get to the final. We played them in the Sweet 16 in 2022.
Yeah, right.
That was when they had that historic no middle defense. It's like it was one of the best defenses of the last 20 years or so, right? Like, it was really good.
Yeah, that's weird to think about how early in that tournament we had to play them. The fact that they had like the number 1 defense and we're playing them in the Sweet 16. But
they were a 3 seed. Yeah, they were a 3 seed. Yeah.
Oh, I know what I was thinking. We had played them in 2019 and like in New York, I believe. Speedy, didn't you and I watched that one at like
we did watch that. Yeah, we did watch that one.
And they ended up making the Final Four that year. That
was the Culver year. They had Culver, who got drafted really high, never really panned out. But I think Minnesota snagged it pretty early.
Yeah,
but
that was
a good one.
That was interesting because we had beat every team in the Final Four that year.
Virginia, Michigan State, and Texas.
Were
we the only team to beat Virginia that year? This is random.
Yeah, we beat them twice.
Yeah,
I don't.
They only had 2 losses,
I think they only had 2 losses.
I think so. I think we were the only team to beat them. Should have beat them 3 times.
Yeah. They might have had 1 more, right? They might have had 3. Yeah, we'll fact check that next pod.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We'll come back with an update.
Yeah,
maybe they did have 3 because they lost in the ACC tournament because we won the ACC tournament, so they did have 3.
For all the incorrect things, we'll say we'll just put out a pod of like disclaimers.
Yeah, some of the stuff.
Go back 3 years ago, Raul said something that was totally not.
Yeah, something about Dino Gaudio at Wake Forest.
Yeah, somehow we'll get back to 08 Wake. Yeah, it always gets back to 08 Wake. All right, so this might be the most fun one to talk about at the end here. One, I love it that it's just going to be in February. I like kind of just throwing that in there. We had the Illinois game last year, so this is going to be Duke, Michigan, and DC, which is kind of cool too. Another kind of site that you might see in a regional setting or somewhere in that kind of ballpark. I think the funnest part of it is that we get Elliott Cadeau again, right? Like that's, to me, just the hilarity of that. Looking forward to that one. And then you get, again, their roster is, I know last year, like, and Dusty May is highly regarded. I think what was he at FAU or something before he came out to Michigan. Fan of his. I like the way that they play. Last year they played those 2 big guys that they had, I think, that they were doing some tower stuff. This one's a little bit different, right? Like you're looking at like basically a ton of transfers here coming in. So they get to get the kid out of UAB, Lindenborg. They get Merez Johnson from Illinois. Didn't play against Duke. I think was only a freshman last year. So he's coming in. So those are your 2 quote unquote projected starting bigs, which are both just kind of forwards. Then they got that Roddy Gale kid, but he's just a complete non-shooter. And if that's going to be your shooting guard, to me, like that's kind of I'm not too concerned about a Gale Cadeau backcourt. Like that's pretty. We should really be able to impose some will on that. Then they got Namari Burnett, who comes back, 5th year, super senior. Now he is a shooter, 40% on high volume, but like to me, I don't see this being a better team than they had last year. Even though GP has somehow got them at 8th, like we're playing them on February 21st. If it's a ranked game by then, I'll be happy. Pretty much. It's kind of, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just like.
I mean, that'll be the middle of the big
impressive.
Yeah, in the middle of the Big Ten, those guys will just be beating each other up for the last 2 months. So yeah, if they're still top 10, I'd be a little surprised with that.
If they're ranked, I'll be thrilled.
Yeah,
I mean, I could see this playing out. Maybe not a 50-point beating, but like I could see it where like we just.
Like the Illinois game,
like the Illinois game, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't think it'd be 50, but like it could get. I could see us handling that. This just is not. I mean, I don't think they're big enough. I don't think there's enough shooting. I just don't. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just maybe I'm too low on them, but
you're still going to be able to sag off Cadeau.
So and Gale. There's 2 non-shooters. If you're going to start 2 non-shooters, like completely non-shooters.
Yeah, I think that ends up changing by the time we play them. But
and without size down there too, like this could. Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see, but
yeah, and the fact that it is in DC should favor us too. I mean, I know that's not like New York or anything, but still,
it'll be plentiful
drive,
Duke fans. Yeah,
so
lot to do.
Yeah. All I know is we can't let Cadeau get to 500 against Duke, right? So he is now currently 2-3 because they swept us his freshman year, and then we swept them in 3 games his sophomore year. So we gotta win this one and make it 4-2 against Cadeau.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man, I think Duke wins this pretty comfortably. Personally, would be pretty surprised if we went to DC in the DMV area with a plan against that. Right now, again, maybe some of these guys just really pop in a way that I just don't anticipate. But this just seems like some Duke cooking for me.
Think we'll see any words between Cadeau and Big Pat in this one?
Hope so.
Yeah.
Hope so.
I think last time Cadeau told him he was going to smack Big Pat in
Oh
Charlotte.
yeah, that's right.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Slim will certainly be chatting a little bit there too. And you know,
Pat got
Caleb
the-
probably went.
Oh yeah.
Pat got the last laugh with that one. With the,
Yeah.
the pointing out the recruit, the lane violation. I was going to say
Yeah.
recruiting violation, the
Yeah.
lane violation. So obviously, yeah, worked out for Duke.
Yeah, this one just is not like. I mean, it's interesting and it's fun in terms of the fact we get to play Cadeau, but I hope it's fun in terms of it's just like a Duke romp. It's fun. It's cool to play Michigan again, like we were talking offline. Like there was a while there in like the early aughts where we just played them like every year, just all the time. Like played them in the tournament.
And then back in the 90s too, we had a home and
Home
series,
and away.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Like we were talking. Yeah, the Fab Five. We played them 3 times, 3-0. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of cool to get that back in there too. So
yeah, it was pretty crazy for me to see that we hadn't played them since 2013.
I know, man.
21-7 against them. So we've
we've
played them a ton historically, and it just hasn't happened for a while. So it'd be cool to kind of get that going again, hopefully.
Yeah. So I mean that'll round us out. That's 8 of the big ones. I mean, I guess we could toss it around and see if there's any other games y'all want to mention. I think there's a few, but before we do that, out of these 8, let's do a little bit of just kind of overall like record. And instead of going through it, if I set the over under at 5-3.
Over.
I think that's probably a fair, right? You're going over? Okay.
I go over. Yeah.
Okay.
I like 6-2 in the 8.
I'm just gonna push 5-3.
Yeah. I think money line right there, 5-3. The push is probably I guess like at 5-3, would you be happy at 5-3? Would that be like, all right, nice, we did our job?
Well, I guess it depends on the 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Is one of those the exhibition? Because then we're really 5-2, right?
Oh, that's true.
That's true.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
And then the other thing is like, obviously some of these wins would be more valuable than others. Like I think I would take a loss to Michigan State at Michigan State if it meant beating Florida and Texas Tech. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because I think that those are going to be more valuable resume wins than a road loss to Michigan State would be like damaging to us.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Yeah, I mean 5-3 would be, and I guess you're right. Let's take out the Tennessee game because that one really doesn't matter, right? So then if you're now you're looking at like 4-3 or 5-2. 5-2 sounds good, right? 5-2 would be solid.
5-2
I
is
think.
what I had in my head.
Yeah, 4-3 is kind of like, that's not super great.
Yeah.
But if the 3 happen to be you lose both in New York and you lose to Michigan State and East Lansing, and it's like, all right, you beat Florida, you beat Arkansas, you beat Michigan, whatever, it's like, okay, I think you can live with that. But
yeah, I mean, I just don't think you can come out of it with a losing record, but as long as you're like 4-3 or better, I think you're okay. And you position yourself well to get like, a top 2 seed if you kind of do well in conference play, which we should, right? But if you go 5-2, then I think you give yourself a little bit of cushion where you don't have to go like, I don't want to be in a situation where we have to go 18-2 in conference play. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to put that much pressure on us because I think the ACC will be just a little bit better this year, and I think it's going to be harder to do. So, if you're 5-2, then I think you can afford to go like 17-3 or even 16-4.
We're not playing 20 games in the ACC this year. Are we playing back to?
No, they've down to they dropped it back down. Yeah,
right.
So
that's why we get the Michigan game. In fact, like
So I think I agree with that. I think if you were looking at it from the standpoint of like, okay, well, 4-3 means you're firmly top 20-ish team, right? If you can beat 4 of these teams, you're in that top 20 range. If you're sitting there at 5-2, you probably feel like, hey, we're probably around a top 10, top 15 team. If you're 6-1, you're a top 5. You're looking at a 1 seed, right? If you're 7-0, you're the best team in the country.
Yeah,
you come out of there 7-0, you're clearly the best team in the country, and there's just no question about it. So, I don't think, just for perspective, if you do sit there at 4-3, to me, it's not the sky is falling and everything's just doom and gloom. It's probably sitting there thinking that one or two maybe got away from you.
Yeah.
But
And I feel like you have some work to do to get kind of back up to where you
Yeah.
want to be seating wise, but it's, you got a whole conference slate ahead of you to do that. So,
right.
I mean, what did we say last year? Weren't we like 4-3 or something
Yeah.
early in the season?
Yeah.
And then we just
Yeah.
rattled off a billion wins in a row, and suddenly we're a 1 seed. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, if you're sitting there at 4-3 in these, but then you look up in like March or February or something, and you're like 22-5 or 23-5, it's like, oh, okay, that's fine, right? Like that's solid. We'll roll with that. So, Any other ones y'all want to mention, or go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that like several of these teams are going to be better than anyone we're going to play in conference. So the only team that's kind of even like in that range of these teams is like maybe a Louisville or we'll see how NC State shakes out, but
it's Louisville, really. Like Louisville could potentially be better than any of these teams, but they're the only one that's on the level of any of these teams, probably too, right? Well, I don't know. I don't rank Michigan super, super high, so you might have a team that's in that ballpark. Some of these others, though, I'm just not quite seeing it.
Yeah, for me, look, I think the game at Army is going to be a notable game. Just a cool.
I love that one.
I'm assuming Coach K will be there for that. I would imagine.
Certainly think so. Yeah.
So, Indiana State, that's to me, that's for the quote unquote like cupcake games that you normally play in Cameron. Like Indiana State, that's a program. They've had some success. Yeah, and had some dudes. We talked about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Larry Nerd.
I hope they wear the baby blues too.
Yeah.
There's obviously the
Brotherhood
matchups, right?
Yeah, the Brotherhood Challenge. So or Count Classic, whatever. Brotherhood Run. So that's Greg Paulus bringing Niagara, and then Kenny Blakeney bringing Howard in, which Thornton came from. So
that is cool. Yeah, that will be cool.
Yeah, I think it's just Scheyer's mission to like beat every former Duke alumni.
Yeah, Kay like to do it too, right? So, but all right. So I think that kind of wraps up our non-con stuff. Obviously, Duke just released the whole schedule, so we'll probably wait a little while before we'll do an ACC preview like before the ACC starts. So we'll probably do another one before the season where we look at just all of the schedule. We'll do a big preview, so it'll probably get wrapped into that. We'll do some predictions as we get a little bit closer here. But all right, another one thing just before we do get out of here is 9/11. So just wanted to acknowledge that, especially what's been going on lately. So just hope everyone's kind of safe and, doing what you need to do, being reflective, hold the ones you love, all that good stuff. But we appreciate you all. So rate, review, subscribe. You can email us TheDevilsDen.com. You can find us on X/Twitter at DevilsDenPod247 and keep the faces strong and the verb high. Go Duke.